Hello again. Welcome back to this Game Boy Advance DIY video thing that I've been doing since quarantine. Last time I made a video like this, I exchanged the shells of that beat up old Game Boy Advance with this nice purple, atomic purple / grape colored shell. And it does look really nice, but I think the buttons feel kind of cheap. They don't feel very good. They don't respond the way that I feel the Game Boy Advance buttons and triggers and membranes should feel. So I'm going to try my hand at not just exchanging the shell, but also replacing the non-backlit, non-frontlit original Game Boy Advance screen with something a little bit nicer. If you couldn't already tell, I've already undone this system. I've already unscrewed everything. The screen is still in there because I'm not going to need this particular screen, the original screen. I'm not going to need the shell either. What I'm using instead is this shell here. I'm going to be replacing the screen with this. This is the IPS screen that a lot of people online who do this kind of thing have been talking about. You can do all of this with no soldering. You can. I'm going to try to do some soldering this video, but you can do this whole thing with no soldering. So the kit that I bought from VideoGamesNewYork. This is by no means a sponsored video. I love this store. They always take care of me. They are always so nice. So check them out. That's their social medias here. Again, not sponsored. I just really like the store. So the kit I bought from VideoGamesNewYork came with this. This is a pre-modded / pre-cut shell. I don't know specifically which one. I'm going to guess pre-cut shell. Obviously, it came with the IPS screen, the screws, and the cool thing about this one, unlike this shell, which came with a bunch of screws, but they were all like Phillips head and really cheap and like not nice feeling. This one actually came with screws that were like, I think they're OEM, original equipment manufacturer. They're tri-wings. If they're not, I mean, it's nice that they still included tri-wing screws like the original Game Boy Advance came with instead of just Phillips head screws. I also bought a centering bracket, some new buttons, and new membranes. I wanted to buy another color, but they were sold out of all the other colors. And literally the day after I put in my order, they got more colors and they got more shells and they got more everything. So, and the kit also comes with this. This is the ribbon adapter cable / like control panel, I suppose, for the IPS screen. This is the part that if you want to solder, you'll use this. You'll do stuff with this. If you don't want to solder, obviously you'll still have to use this, but you don't have to do any of the actual soldering bits. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So since I already have everything taken apart, you just have to take the screen out of this little jewel case, which was very nice of them to ship this screen in the jewel case. One, it was a very expensive screen, and two, it's very fragile. Let's go ahead and take this out of here. Once again, being very delicate with it. This piece right here, this is the connector for this right here. So this ribbon cable off of the IPS screen goes into this port. I believe this is called a bail, B-A-L-E, B-A-I-L, one or the other. It goes into here. And then the cool thing about this piece is it actually has two adapter parts for the ribbon cable. So depending on which model of Game Boy Advance you use, or you use one or the other end. So I would use this larger end because that's the correct size ribbon cable. And I believe there's a difference between this ribbon cable for the original model Game Boy Advance and the one that they would send you to use with a Game Boy Advance SP. So it's not like this one is an SP end and this one is original Game Boy end. This is for different models of the original Game Boy. I also bought a new glass screen, a nice Pokemon Center New York screen with the Pikachu and the Pichu and the nice designs and everything. Thought it was pretty cool. Obviously the system came with a screen, but I thought this one would be nice. And it also feels thicker and heavier. This one feels like plastic. This one actually feels like tempered glass, which is nice. So the first part of putting the screen in is to attach the gasket, the sticky gasket here. There is a correct and an incorrect way to put this in. I didn't actually explain that with words in my last video. I had to put it as text on screen. There's a wider side and a thinner side, and the thinner side is the left side. Thankfully with this pre-cut one, there's only one real way it'll want to fit because of this part here at the bottom. See how it's uneven at the bottom? It'll only want to fit in here one way because of that. So let's go ahead and take care of this. And you see that there's only one way that it wants to fit in here, down at the bottom, in these little nooks and crannies. So that's how you'll know it's being placed correctly. Just the thicker side goes on the right by the D-pad. Now we can remove the sticky side of this one. Then we'll take out this center rectangle here, the actual viewport. Now once again, being very careful, we're going to set this IPS screen into there. And there's one way that it wants to go in, which is like this, with the ribbons on this side. Before I attach this part of the IPS screen's ribbon cable to this control panel bail, I'm going to try the soldering thing. Let me set these aside real quick, clear up some space. You guys are joining me for my soldering journey. I am, for all intents and purposes, a soldering novice. This is what I'm working with. Obviously we have this. This kit came with the piece we needed, as well as some wires, some very thin wires. I have 0.6 millimeter solder, desoldering braid. As for the actual soldering irons themselves, this is the one I'll be using today. There are wired and wireless ones. I have one of each. This one I'm using because of the tip of the tool. Let me see if I can get it to focus here on the tip. So this is a cone tip. This cone tip is what we need because the wires are so small, the solder points are so small, and it's a very fine tipped soldering iron. This one uses 4 AA batteries. Already loaded up. So the reason you want to get a cone tip like this is because the other tip that I know of is like this. This is a chisel tip, and it's a little bit too big to do with these small solder points. Let's go ahead and carry it over. This is my wired soldering iron. It's just unplugged right now. But yeah, you see it's really big compared to where I need to solder onto. So that's why you don't want to use one of these. This is really good for removing a lot of solder from these really bold points and adding a lot of solder to places where precision is not necessarily that important. So the kit comes with 3 wires, and the wires need to be soldered to these 3 points: the L, the R, and the select. So I'm going to do my best here. Bear with me. I am a neophyte at this, a rookie, a noob. I feel like that select's got a huge glob of solder on it. feel like that was a decent job. Okay, now the select button solder has to be soldered onto this point right here. TP whatever, right above the start. Right there. Anyone else ever feel really intimidated by videos where people do soldering and stuff, and they just seem so good at it? Yeah, me too. Okay, now that's soldered onto the board here. I hope that's good. While off camera, I took the foam off the old screen and put it on the new screen here. Let me move this a little bit. It's not pretty. I could have just gotten a pre-cut piece of foam. I'll be honest with you, I just forgot. I put the foam here just to protect the screen from shorting out against the circuit board here. I think the next step is to attach this to this. Let's do that. Oh, you know what? I actually need to take the foam off. Okay, so it looks like I have to put this down here. Since I'm using the larger side, I can just leave this alone. L cable, R cable, right? L wire, R wire. Okay, so I'll try and lay this out like this, and then connect this cable by kind of folding it, like laying this flat and then folding this up onto it so that the connector and the bail go together. Again, I feel like I'm saying the right word, bail, but if I'm not saying the right word, please let me know. Got it in, got it on, connected, attached. I'm going to tape this down with a piece of Kapton tape. This is my Kapton tape here. Again, I'll have a link in the description of my video to all the stuff that I use. I don't think it's the best stuff. I don't know though. I could be wrong. I could be right. I could have stumbled onto a great stuff. I don't even know how to undo this tape. I am an idiot. So I'm just going to take a piece of this Kapton tape here and just tape this down to the screen. There you go. You know what? Let's make it 2. Okay, so I'm going to put this spacer back in now that it's in its correct place. Actually, I'll do the foam. And then I'll do the spacer. Now we'll drop the board back in place. Now, the last little bit of soldering I'm going to have to do is one of these into here and one of these into here. Let me make sure I know the exact post I'm supposed to solder it onto. This wire needs to be soldered onto this leg right here, the left leg. And the other side. I think that's good. Alright guys, so I undid everything so that I could adjust the positioning of my screen. I fixed everything up, I realigned the ribbon cable, put down some new Kapton tape, put the spacers back in, made sure the buttons were in this time, and the light, the LED plastic piece. So let's go ahead and button this thing up.